This is Mac OS Ken.
Counterpoint points out smartphone sales, talk around Apple's headset plans, and neat tech stuff up for auction. It is Friday, the 24th of February, 2023. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplisafecom/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Two-fisted tales of telephony. Smartphonery. Two reports on smartphone shipments from Counterpoint Research today. They cover last quarter and last year, so they are not great. The first report covers Europe, which had a smartphone market beaten up by a dire economic climate and ongoing geopolitical uncertainty. For the fourth quarter, the continent saw shipments of 45 million units, a decline of 24% year-on-year. Counterpoint says that marked the worst fourth quarter for smartphones in Europe since 2011 and contributed to the worst year for smartphones in Europe since 2012. According to the firm, Samsung stayed on top in the December quarter despite a 25% drop in shipments versus the same quarter a year earlier. Apple took second place from Xiaomi, despite its weakest smartphone launch in Europe since iPhone 5 in 2012. And though it got shoved into third, Xiaomi's year-on-year decline was said to be the least drastic of any of the top phone makers, according to Counterpoint. Counterpoint Associate Director Jan Strajek was quoted in the release saying, "There was no let-up for European consumers in the fourth quarter, as the cost of living remained at record levels. Yes, the traditional Christmas boost meant quarterly shipments increased compared to the third quarter, but consumer demand remained muted. Apple's usual strong end of the year was weaker than expected, allowing Samsung to maintain its leadership of the European market." One assumes that iPhone weakness was tied to production problems at Foxconn's iPhone City plant in Changzhou, China, and assume one will have to since the Counterpoint piece does not comment on the reason. As for what's ahead, the first half of 2023 still looks dicey for smartphones in Europe, with hope for better days in the second half. Quoting Strajek again, "The challenging macro climate and ongoing geopolitical tensions will continue into 2023 and potentially get worse initially as the cost of living crisis deepens through winter. Some countries are likely to fall into recession, so with weakened consumer demand and high inventory levels for some manufacturers, the first half of 2023 will be tough. However, inflation has stabilized and wholesale energy prices have dropped, leading to hopes of interest rate and energy bill cuts later in the year. This should boost consumer confidence and spur demand, leading to a better second half of the year." On now to the Middle East and Africa, where iPhone kinda doesn't exist much. Counterpoint's second report says sales dropped for Apple as they did for the region, though iPhone's market share grew. That said, the prize goes to Samsung. Quoting Counterpoint, market leader Samsung saw year-on-year volume and market share growth in 2022, a terrific performance given the market realities. This was due to the success of the Galaxy A series in capturing the market for aspirational upgraders, particularly those that may be getting their first 5G devices. The company also benefited from a significantly improved supply chain position, giving distributors clarity and certainty in a time of turbulence. Wouldn't that have been neat? One has to scan all the way down to 6th place to find Apple, though it's not all bad news there. Quoting Counterpoint again, Apple's shipments dropped year on year, but the brand saw its market share increase due to broadened distribution in the region and the success of the iPhone 13 series. The iPhone 14 series launch has not been as successful as the iPhone 13 series. However, sales have concentrated towards the higher-end iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max models, thus replicating Apple's value gains seen in other, more developed markets. Now, if you're a certain kind of nerd, what's happening with smartphones across the Middle East and Africa is interesting. 5G is really just starting to grow across the regions. While globally, 5G smartphone prices are coming down due to the availability of more affordable models, Counterpoint says the growth of 5G devices in the area will actually boost the average selling price in the region as customers upgrade to more sophisticated devices. That should grow the value of the region's smartphone market, according to the firm. With an emphasis on more affordable, though, it's tough to see that doing a lot for Apple anytime soon. There's news around Apple's AR, VR, MR headset. Well, there's talk around it anyway. A piece from Nikkei Asia has word of the first version of the device, expected sometime this year, and a second version said to be in development right now. The piece from Apple Insider highlights the Nikkei report, which is mostly about making the things. According to that, development and production of the first device has shifted from Pegatron to Luxshare. The sources are secret, but there are said to be a lot of them. Nikkei heard that word from 5 individuals familiar with the matter. If you're looking for a reason to be nervous, Pegatron is said to be out because it became skeptical about Apple's headset plans. If you're looking to calm those nerves, did I mention that second headset said to already be in development? That one will be made by Foxconn, according to the piece, and that is the one that is really expected to sell. Apple Insider has Nikkei saying Apple's first generation of AR devices will be extremely expensive and really only can attract those passionate tech geeks or premium customers. But Apple hopes to push the price down in the second generation of devices, which is in parallel development, to a more affordable price, like a high-end Mac computer, and hopes to attract a bigger user base. This is where Foxconn comes in. According to Apple Insider, that firm will focus on automating mass production and improving production rates to help lower costs. The Apple Insider piece once again references an anticipated sky-high price for the first unit. They've got that coming in between $3,000 and $5,000. That said, a second piece on the headset from 9 to 5 Mac brings that cost down considerably. They've got it sailing in between $2,000 and $3,000. It still sounds sky-high, unless you're expecting $5,000, in which case, sounds like a bargain. I'll take 7. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, Simply Safe, the right way to protect your home. There is probably nothing you wouldn't do to protect your family, no matter how difficult. So let's talk about an easy one, securing your home with Simply Safe. I love that part, how easy it is. I like the fact that setting up my sensors, keypad, and base station took me under an hour. I like that I don't have to have strangers in my house for protection. Kind of funny that way. Not that it's you against the world. Simply Safe is designed with cutting-edge security technology and powered by 24/7 professional monitoring. And that coverage will not break the bank. Simply Safe's round-the-clock monitoring costs under $1 a day, less than half the price of traditional home security systems. Pick out the pieces you need to give you peace of mind. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. SIMPLI. That's simplysafe.com/macOSken. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Thursday was a tough afternoon for Apple services. Lots of them, and seemingly everywhere. While various services on Apple's system status page said things like, users may have experienced a problem with, and this service may have been slow or unavailable, Apple Insider went with a bit less sugar for its headline, nearly every Apple online service is down in ongoing global outage. If you happen to visit Apple's status page at the height of the trouble, the phrase lit up like a Christmas tree might have come to mind. Just under 30 Apple services are said to have been affected, including big ones like the App Store, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and probably the most important one, podcasts. Then there were the businessy productivity services such as Apple Business Essentials, Apple Business Manager, Apple School Manager, iWork Collaboration, iWork for iCloud, and plenty of others. I couldn't get my classical piano Apple Music radio station to play, so yeah, harrowing day. Well, harrowing hour or so. Things blinked out at about 3:55 p.m. Eastern, 12:55 on the West Coast. Everything on the status page was green again, right around 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. out west. The problem with Jon Stewart has at least 6 more problems to tackle. On the same day as Stewart's YouTube live stream, Apple TV Plus issued a press release announcing a continuation of the show's second season. I'm not sure they understand how TV seasons work. Then again, it's not TV. It's whatever Apple TV Plus is. Topics to be addressed in Season 2, Part 2 include crimes and guns, defense policy, inflation, prison reform and rehabilitation, and the backsliding of democracy. Additionally, the release teases the show traveling abroad for Stewart to speak with foreign policy leaders. Of course, they won't be foreign there, but you get the idea. The show starts up again 1 week from today, Friday, the 3rd of March. Remaining episodes will stream 1 a week, each Friday, for the following 5 weeks. And finally today, mint in-box original iPhones may be the Apple One auction item of 2023. Rare. Except for all the ones people keep finding to sell. Now, news of an auction with both. On the heels of last week's $63,000 iPhone sale, a piece from Mac Rumors says RR Auction has a first-generation sealed Apple iPhone up for bids. Not sure they know what they've got, though, or how much they're going for these days. The auction house puts the anticipated sale price for the untouched communicator at $20,000. Heck, at that price, I'll take $7,000. Now, I know I get sort of snide about the ultra-rare Apple One computers that go up for auction every 20 minutes or so, but the one RR has up for auction really is interesting. That's because until this year, nobody knew this one was out there. According to Mac Rumors, the Apple One for sale is undiscovered as it was not on the known list of remaining Apple One devices until 2023. It was first used as a demonstration system at the Data Domain computer store in Columbus, Indiana in 1977. After that, it was given to its current owner. Signed by Woz and restored by Apple employee number 12, Daniel Kotke, the auctioneer expects the machine to fetch somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000. The whole auction, dubbed Steve Jobs and the Computer Revolution, is full of interesting stuff. There are documents and business cards, scads of computers, and two artifacts that are decidedly early 80s. An Apple Computer 25-foot-long logo kite and an Apple Computer latch hook rug, both from 1983. The rug features Apple's iconic 6-color logo on a sort of beige background, originally sold through Apple's 1983 gift catalog. Check out this original sales pitch. Have hours of enjoyment creating your own latch hook rug. Everything is included in your kit to produce a 100% polyester and acrylic rug that can also double as a wall hanging. Imagine the compliments when friends discover that you did all the work. Originally priced at $75, the auction house expects it to sell for more than $800. You will have to lie to your friends, though, about whether you did all the work. The auction closes on the 16th of March. More info is available at rrauction.com. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, TMO Managing Editor Jeff Butts and I talk over Morgan Stanley's list of idiosyncratic tailwinds for Apple shares. Plus, we hit the RR auction site, talking about things we pretend we're going to buy. That is all today on the Daily Observations podcast from the Mac Observer, online at macobserver.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/macOSCan. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.